It's our two of them. Convention Center. Second time we've been here for WonderCon. And there are many facets to these conventions. You'll see people dressing up in costumes. Of course, we've talked about comic books and superheroes. But the dressing up, what people call cosplay, is a huge part of all of these gatherings or conventions. So I thought it was prudent and important that we share with you some of the reasons why, and I wanted to bring on someone who is better than me to explain it. Right now I'm joined by Bregman, who is, I would say, a cosplay queen.
Oh, thank you.
Founder and creator of Castle Corsetry. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
High quality corsets, cosplay, and custom costumes. Let's just start at the beginning. The obvious question, what is cosplay?
Cosplay is when fans come out of the closet and dress up as their favorite superheroes to show their love for that creation. And so they see the comic book, they see the art, and they're like, I want to be Power Girl. I want to be Harley Quinn. I want to be Superman. So it's really about just like showing your love for your favorite characters, your favorite fandoms, and kind of expressing yourself through dressing up.
Some of these costumes are so ornate. The attention to detail is fantastic. How much time are people putting into these costumes sometimes?
I mean, cosplay can be anywhere from like a $5, 10-minute project upwards to months and months and thousands of dollars worth of creation. So it really varies depending on the complexity of the character and the design, and also how much like blood, sweat, and tears the cosplayer is willing to throw into it, you know?
Now, beyond the conventions, you may attend events all around the country or go from convention to convention.
Yeah.
How extensive might someone's travel be with someone who's really, really involved in all of this?
I mean, a lot of my clients are like world famous cosplayers, and they are at a different convention every weekend.
Every weekend?
Every weekend. Or sometimes they'll have like a weekend off, and then they'll get to like maybe have like a day or two at home. But for a lot of times, these people are living out of a suitcase, going from convention to convention, you know, and they're hardly home, except maybe a couple days in a weekday, where they can catch up on stuff and maybe get an hour or two of sleep, and then they go right back to the next convention. I have friends that go all over the world, so then they're super jet lagged and everything too. It's a crazy world.
If you check me out on Instagram right now, Mr. Mokelly, that's MrMokelly, you will see literally dozens of examples of cosplay. And there is another side to this issue, I would say. The costumes are not sexual, but they are sexy. Is that a fair read?
It depends on the character, and it also depends on the demographic of the comic book or the fandom that you're talking about. So like obviously there's a difference between like heavy metal and then like Batman and like some animes. They all have their own levels of kind of revealing costumes, and there's a lot of video games that have very revealing costumes, but that's part of the game. It's part of sex sells. So a lot of these artists are creating these characters, these costumes to appeal to their audience and make them sexy.
But we also know the alleged incidents, what happened at Comic-Con last year, where there were some people who were engaging in cosplay, and I guess some people who came to the convention may or may not have been actual attendees who possibly took it too far, unwanted touching or advances.
Yes, that happens.
How often does that happen?
That happens all the time at conventions. It's getting a little bit better because there's so much press about it, and people are talking about it right now, and it's a huge topic. So it's getting a little bit better. A lot of these conventions are stepping up their game with their security, and they're helping with some of those policies to kind of help police that kind of behavior. There's like a no tolerance behavior. They'll kick people out if they do inappropriate stuff. But it does still happen, and especially these bigger conventions where it takes over the entire city, like Comic-Con. I mean, they can't really police what happens on the gas lamp because it's not part of the convention.
Gas lamp is outside of the convention.
Yes. Like out on the street, like kind of where all the restaurants and things are. Like they can't like police convention traffic over there because it's outside of the convention center walls. But they're getting better about policing what happens within the walls of the convention center. And so they're posting. When I got to WonderCon yesterday, they handed me a little flyer about the convention policies and harassment policies as they handed me my badge. So yeah, so they're getting better about it and they're being more vocal.
What is the etiquette as far as seeing someone in the hallway in the convention center, asking for a picture, taking a picture? How should someone go about doing that?
I mean, it's always polite to ask. But if somebody's already posing for a picture, you can sneak in the cell phone picture as long as you're not disrupting the photographer or setting off a flash when somebody is trying to work. So it's always polite to ask, but it's also okay. If they're already posing and looking at your camera, then they've given you that permission. You know, if I'm looking right at you, I've given you my permission. I don't need to like say, yes, you can take my picture. If you're holding the camera in my face and I'm smiling at you, it's probably okay for you to take the picture. But there's a lot of people out there that will take like unwanted, like butt shots or something, you know, and they'll like focus the camera and then they'll just like go right down with the, you can see them like refocus their lens onto the butt or the cleavage and stuff.
And you notice my eyes are looking straight forward at you. My eyes
so
are not. And we're going to have pictures of them. I will want to look at the pictures. That's all I'm going to say. But I've been a perfect gentleman thus far.
We'll just say that I'm dressed as a Power Girl today, and she has...
Powerful, let me tell you.
Yes, quite.
So how do you, I would say, is it competitive?
It's very competitive. But it's also kind of friendly. Like it's a friendly competition. But for me personally, it's always about like, if I want to do my character, I want to be the best Power Girl out there. I want to, if I decide to do that character, I'm going to do the best job I possibly can to embody that character and to make the costume as accurately as possible so it's represented. Like I want to be jumping out of the page of the comic books or of the movie screen, depending on what character I'm trying to embody. So there's a competition level aspect in that regard. But not everybody competes like in the costume contests and stuff. I haven't competed in a convention cosplay contest in 3 years, so it's not my. I judge them all the time, but I don't compete in them. But it's not like a. But there is like a competition of like, oh well, I saw that other Power Girl on the floor today, and oh I liked her wig better than mine. Maybe I should go upgrade. You know, it's kind of like that friendly competition.
That's odd because I don't usually experience that type of interaction between women in a general sense.
Okay.
If two women were to walk into a party, they have the same dress on, I don't see them reacting positively. But you're saying it's okay if two women have the same costume and they're complimentary?
Sometimes they're not, but I mean most of the time it's like, oh, let's get a picture together. We're both Power Girl, or like we're all from the same comics universe. We're all from DC Comics. Like we'll get like a Justice League group together. We'll all take pictures. And there, at every one of these conventions, there's a lot of like planned photo shoots where it's like the Marvel photo shoot or the DC photo shoot, and it's like every DC character ever piles into one staircase and takes these big group photos. And there's like 12 Harley Quinns and a million Jokers, and but you know it's like. But we all get together and take those pictures. Like last year I was part of the DC photo shoot here, and it was like a dozen Jokers and a dozen Harleys, and we like battled it out. But it was like a cute group picture, and it's very friendly and fun. And there's different versions of the characters and stuff like that. They are not all in the same exact costume, because there's a million versions of every character out there.
Let me ask you this, and I know some people can be very judgmental about just the costumes that you wear, or is there a time in which you may say, from an age standpoint, it's time to let that go?
Yes and no. I have friends that have been cosplaying for like decades at this point. I mean, cosplay's been around. It's just a lot more mainstream than it is now than it was even 5 years ago. But I feel like there's just a growth in what characters you play, you know? Like, I'm not always going to be able to pull off like a younger character. I'm not going to be able to pull off a high school character indefinitely. Like, maybe I could for another year or two. But I mean, like,
Power Girl, maybe Power Hoover Girl?
maybe. But like, I think I'll just evolve my characters. Like, I can't wait to be older, and I want to be the best Cruella de Vil ever. Like,
okay.
Children. Like, that's going to be my goal. My husband and I actually really want to do Miracle Max and Valerie someday from Princess Bride, and just be like the haggard old miracle workers and heckle everybody. I think it'll be fun. So I think there's just an evolution of what characters you choose.
And there you have it. That's cosplay. Lauren Bregman has been my guest, cosplay queen, creator of Castle Corsetry, high quality corsets, cosplay, and custom costumes. We'll have our information up for you at KFI8640.com. Lauren, it's good seeing you.
It was so nice to meet you. I had so much fun today.
Thank you for sitting with me. This is the Bo Kelly Show on KFI8640.